At my lowest, my wife said, "You're just dead weight now. I need a man who can provide." She took my credit card and left. She didn't know I'd just inherited $3.5 million. I froze the account, then called a divorce lawyer. "Hey there. We're working hard to hit our first 1,000 subscribers. If you love true, emotional stories, hit that subscribe button. It helps more than you know." Now let's get into the story. Let me take you back to the exact moment everything fell apart. I was sitting on the couch, leg in a brace, surrounded by pain meds, crushed dignity, and empty takeout containers. 3 weeks earlier, I'd fallen off a ladder trying to fix a leak in our roof. Torn ligaments, fractured knee, out of work indefinitely. I wasn't some lazy guy leeching off his wife. I'd been the one covering the bills while she chased a dream of starting her own online boutique, which never really made a single cent. But I never complained. I supported her through every failed launch, every new logo design, every "this time it'll work" pitch. And now that I was the one who needed help, you'd think she'd have my back. But nah. She came into the room wearing her workout set, sunglasses still on her head, like she was about to step into a photo shoot. She stood there for a second, looking down at me like I wasn't even a person anymore. Then she said it. "You're just dead weight now. I need a man who can actually provide. Not someone who spends his days popping painkillers on the couch." No hesitation. No compassion. Just that. Like she'd been rehearsing it for days. I looked at her, trying to figure out if this was real. I thought maybe she was stressed, or overwhelmed, or just upset with the situation. So I asked, "Are you serious right now?" She rolled her eyes and scoffed. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be." Then she reached into my wallet, pulled out my credit card, and said she'd be staying at Cassie's for a while to clear her head. Cassie, by the way, is her friend who divorced her husband for a yoga instructor and now thinks she's some kind of relationship guru because she read the 4 agreements once. So yeah, great support system. Now here's the part that gets interesting. She didn't know I'd just inherited $3.5 million. It was from my late uncle, a guy I'd been taking care of quietly for years. No one knew about it. Not even her. He had no kids, no siblings left, and he left it all to me. The money had cleared a few days earlier. I hadn't even had time to process it. I was planning to tell her. I had this dumb, romantic idea of using a chunk of it to take us to Italy. She always dreamed of going, and I thought, hey, maybe this whole accident was the universe's way of slowing me down and letting us reconnect. But after that moment, after she called me dead weight, any warmth I had left evaporated. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cry. I didn't even flinch when she walked out. I just picked up my phone, opened my banking app, and froze the card. Then I called a lawyer, the best one I could find, and I told him, "Let's make this clean, but let's make it fast." What she didn't know is that by the time she packed her overnight bag, the world around her had already changed. But I was just getting started. It had been 5 days. No texts, no calls, not even a "how are you feeling" from the woman who used to claim I was her rock. I wasn't surprised. I figured she'd spend the first few days blowing through my credit card on wine nights and spa visits with Cassie, telling anyone who would listen that she'd finally broken free from her broken husband. But see, what she didn't realize was that card she took. It was as dead as our marriage. I'd frozen the account within minutes of her walking out that door, transferred all my funds to a new private account, changed every password, shut down every joint access. The house, legally in my name. The car she drove? Mine. Even the phone plan. Guess who was the primary account holder? The moment I left that lawyer's office, I didn't just get a divorce packet. I got control. Quiet, calculated control. And I wasn't rushing anything. I was going to do this the way she did, cold and clean. She came back on a Tuesday afternoon. I heard the engine of my car pulling into the driveway. I was sitting at the kitchen table, sipping coffee, leg propped up, watching the security camera feed on my laptop. There she was, wearing a new jacket, dragging a designer overnight bag behind her like some victorious queen returning from exile. She walked up the front steps confidently, key in hand. Then she tried the lock. Click. Nothing. She paused, jiggled it again. Nothing. I watched her on the screen as she leaned in, confused, knocking on the door like maybe the deadbolt was just stuck. I didn't move. She pulled out her phone, started calling. Blocked. I sipped my coffee. 3 minutes passed before she started knocking harder, then yelling, "Babe? Seriously? Open the door." She stood there, looking around like the moment would somehow reset. Like this was all some overdramatic joke I was playing, and I'd come sweeping out with open arms. I didn't. Instead, I messaged the lawyer and said, she tried to come back. Let's move forward with the filing. That night, I slept better than I had in weeks. No tension, no second guessing. No more playing emotional janitor for someone who had already thrown me out like trash. The next morning, I checked her Instagram. She'd posted a photo from the car with the caption, "New beginnings. Time to level up." The comments were full of heart emojis, and "you go girl." But I saw it for what it was, panic masked as power. What she didn't realize yet was that the rope she thought she was climbing, I'd already burned it. And trust me, she was about to fall hard. 2 days after her failed homecoming, I got an email. Subject line, "We need to talk. I miss you." I didn't even have to open it to know what it said. But I did anyway, just to see what kind of performance she was putting on. It was textbook damage control. "I'm sorry for what I said. I was overwhelmed, and I let my emotions get the best of me. You've always been there for me, and I see that now. I just want to come home and fix things." Then she tacked on, "P.S. My card isn't working. Do you mind checking if the bank messed something up?" Right. Because it was definitely the bank's fault. Not the fact that I shut the whole thing down the second she walked out. What really killed me was that it wasn't even a good lie. She didn't ask how I was doing. Didn't mention the injury. Didn't reference the years we spent building a life. She skipped right to the part where she needed access again. It wasn't an apology. It was a fishing expedition. So I stayed quiet. She must have expected me to fold, because 48 hours later, she pulled a stunt. I got a call from the insurance company, of all places. Apparently, someone had tried to update the ownership info on the car, my car. She had walked into a branch and tried to switch the title over, claiming I'd agreed to gift it to her. The rep was polite but firm. "We just wanted to verify since your name is still on everything." Oh, I verified all right. After the call, I texted the lawyer. "She's trying to take the car. Can we include this in the filing?" But the best part? I checked our shared Google account, forgot we were still linked. And guess what I found? Screenshots she'd taken of DMs between her and some guy named Brian. Apparently, Brian wasn't just a friend. He was someone she'd been talking to for weeks, maybe months. The tone was way past casual. They had plans, jokes, even little pet names. One message read, "He's sweet, but just too safe, you know? I need more. Someone with ambition." Another one, "He won't even know what hit him. Once I get back in the house, I'll figure it out." I just sat there, staring at the screen. She hadn't just moved on emotionally, she'd planned this. Leaving me, testing the waters with someone else, then trying to claw her way back in when it didn't go as planned. Only problem? She didn't expect I'd see behind the curtain. So I printed everything. Every message. Every screenshot. Every lie. I handed it all to my lawyer and said, "Use this however you want." That was the moment I stopped playing defense. She thought I was some sad, injured guy who'd roll over and beg for her to come back. What she didn't realize, I was just getting warmed up. She still thought she had the upper hand, even after getting locked out, even after the car title stunt, even after I ignored every one of her guilt-drenched emails. That was the thing about her. She didn't believe consequences were real until they were standing right in front of her, looking her dead in the eye. So I gave her that chance. See, she and I used to attend this monthly dinner party. Nothing too fancy, just a group of old college friends who'd kept in touch, rotating who hosted each time. It was our thing. The only time we ever really acted like a team. She loved those nights because it gave her a stage. She'd always wear something flashy and play the perfect couple with me in front of everyone, especially the other wives. After we split, I assumed she'd lay low, avoid the group. But nope. I got a group text the day before the next dinner. "Hey everyone, excited to host tomorrow night. Can't wait to see all your beautiful faces, 2 hearts." It was her number. My first instinct was to bail. No drama, no awkwardness, just skip it. But something in me clicked. She'd hijacked my support system, my circle, and I was tired of letting her rewrite the story. She wanted a performance? Cool. I'd bring one. The night of the dinner, I showed up clean-cut, fresh-shaved, cane in hand. I'd ditched the brace a week earlier, and in a suit she bought me back when she still liked the idea of me. Heads turned when I walked in. A few gasps, a couple awkward smiles, and then her face. She was mid-laugh, glass of wine in hand, sitting next to some new guy she clearly dragged along last minute. Her smile died the second she saw me. She tried to recover, played it cool, said, "Oh, I didn't think you'd come." I just smiled. It's potluck, right? Figured I'd bring receipts. She didn't get the joke at first, but she would, because when people asked how I'd been, I didn't hold back. I wasn't petty or loud. I just told the truth. Calmly, casually, as if I were reading the weather forecast. Told them I'd been injured, that she walked out while I was still healing, that she took my card and left without checking in once. Told them I'd discovered her plan to get back in the house, after she'd already moved on. And then, with a soft smile, I pulled out a small folder from my coat. By the way, for anyone who's wondering, here's the actual chat log. She panicked, got up, reached for it. That's private. I didn't hand it to her. I handed it to Becca, one of the wives who used to think my ex walked on water. Becca read it. Eyes went wide. And just like that, the air changed. People looked at her differently. They weren't angry. They were disappointed. Which, honestly, hurt her more. She pulled me aside and hissed, "Why are you doing this? Just let me live." And I said, "That's exactly what I'm doing. Living. Without lies." I left early. Didn't need to stay for dessert. But on the way out, I looked back and saw her sitting there, wine untouched, shoulders tense, nobody making eye contact. She'd come to show off. Instead, she got exposed. It was about a week after the dinner party. I figured she'd go quiet for a while after what happened. Lick her wounds. Maybe spin a sob story to the few friends she had left. I didn't expect an apology. People like her don't say sorry. They say things like, "I didn't mean for it to happen," or "I was confused." But I was wrong. She didn't go quiet. Instead, she escalated. The first sign was subtle. I got a Venmo request for $87.35. The note: "For your share of the wine and food from our group dinner." I declined it without a word. But I knew it was just the beginning. Then came the texts, from a new number, since she was still blocked everywhere else. "You embarrassed me. Why are you doing this to me? We had years together. You can't just erase me. No, I miss you. No, I messed up." Just that same frantic "how dare you move on" tone she always used when things didn't go her way. I ignored it. Then came the real one. The message that showed me just how bad she'd spiraled. It was long. Paragraphs. I wasn't going to read it, but curiosity got the better of me. And I'm glad it did, because this was the nail in the coffin. She started by saying she was in a dark place. That Brian, the guy she was seeing behind my back, had ghosted her after the truth came out. That she was now sleeping on Cassie's couch and questioning everything. And then came the kicker. "I always thought you were safe. Boring, even. But I see now you were just stable. Reliable. The kind of man who shows up. I thought I needed excitement. Turns out, I needed you." She wasn't apologizing. She was bargaining. That whole message. It was soaked in regret, but not for what she did. For what she lost. And just when I thought she was done, she attached a photo. It was of us. From 3 years ago. One of those random Sunday mornings where I'd made pancakes and she was sitting on the counter in a hoodie, laughing at something dumb I said. She captioned it. "Remember this? We were so happy." I stared at that image for a long time. And for a brief second, I felt it. That ache in the chest. That tug. Because yeah, we were happy. Or at least I was. But then I remembered how she looked at me when I was at my worst. How easily she threw it all away the second things got hard. How fast she reached for someone else, and my wallet. So I saved the photo. And deleted the message. No reply. No closure. Just silence. She had her chance. Dozens of them. And she chose herself every time. Now, so did I. 6 months later, I stood in a hotel lobby that didn't smell like painkillers or regret. The limp was gone. My knee had healed up better than expected. Physical therapy helped, but so did something else. Anger, if I'm being honest. Or maybe not anger. Drive. It's amazing what clarity you get when someone rips the rug out from under you. You either lie there, or you get up and build a whole damn floor. After she left, I used part of the inheritance to invest in myself. I finally launched that side business I'd been dreaming about for years, a mobile EMS training company. I rented out a small office, hired 2 of my old colleagues, and within 3 months, we had hospitals and first responder programs lining up to book us. Turns out people respect you more when you stop trying to prove yourself and just move like you already belong. She didn't know any of this. I never updated her. Never posted anything. I lived quietly, intentionally, and completely off her radar. Until the fundraiser. It was for a local community health program. The kind of event she used to beg me to attend, so she could take photos next to people in suits. One of my new business partners got invited and insisted I come. Said it would be good exposure. So I went. And of course, she was there, dressed to the nines. Hair curled, heels sharp, smiling like someone auditioning for a reality show. She was standing near the drinks table, laughing with some guy in a blazer who clearly thought he was way more interesting than he was. She didn't see me at first. I wasn't trying to be noticed. I was just talking with people, making connections, being me. But eventually, her eyes found mine. And man, I wish I could describe that moment properly. Her smile dropped just enough to reveal the shock, the confusion, the wait, what's he doing here? Expression she couldn't hide. I gave her the smallest nod. Nothing more. No smirk. No pettiness. Just acknowledgement. She looked at me like I was a stranger. Because to her, I was. She walked over eventually. Tried to act casual. Didn't expect to see you here. I shrugged. Didn't expect to be here. Life's funny like that. She looked me up and down. Took in the tailored jacket. The confidence. The fact that I was no longer limping. No longer the man she left sitting on that couch. You look good. I smiled politely. I am. She didn't say anything after that. Just blinked, nodded, and walked away. Back to her blazer guy, who had no idea he was suddenly her second option again. And me? I left not long after. Walked out to my car. Sat in the driver's seat for a moment, just breathing. No rush of victory. No cinematic swell of music. Just peace. She'd call me dead weight. But now, she was the one sinking. And I was already flying. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day. And trust me, tomorrow's story, it's even worse than this one.